June 12, 1948. St. Catherine's Church, Warsaw, Poland. Anna Kowalska stood at the altar in her mother's altered wedding dress. The organ began. Guests rose. Then the church doors opened, not for her entrance, for someone else. A man in a British Army uniform walked down the aisle. His left sleeve was pinned at the elbow. His face carried scars that hadn't been there 4 years ago. Anna's bouquet dropped. White roses scattered across stone floor. The man she'd spent 3 years trying to destroy had just walked into her wedding, to another man. Anna Kowalska was 21 years old when the war ended. She'd survived the Warsaw Uprising. She'd watched her city burn. She'd lost her father, 2 brothers, and nearly lost herself. Before the war, she'd been studying literature at Warsaw University. She read Mickiewicz and Słowacki. She wrote poetry in cramped margins of textbooks. She dreamed of becoming a teacher. The war erased those dreams. By September 1939, German forces occupied Warsaw. Her father disappeared in the first month. Her brothers joined the resistance. Anna worked in a makeshift hospital in Praga district, changing bandages with hands that never stopped shaking. She was 19 years old and already exhausted. Then she met Tomasz Wiśniewski. Tomasz was 23, a medical student before the war. He joined the Home Army as a field medic. He had dark eyes that still held kindness despite everything he'd seen. They met on October 3, 1942, in the hospital basement during a bombing. Raid 47 people crammed into a space meant for storage. The building shook with each explosion. Dust rained from ceiling cracks. A child was crying. Tomasz sat next to Anna in the darkness. He didn't speak. He simply took her hand. His palm was warm, steady. That touch lasted 6 minutes. It changed everything. October 1942 through August 1944, they met in stolen moments between air raids and curfews. They walked through destroyed streets pretending they were still whole. They shared bread that tasted like sawdust and called it dinner. Tomasz told her about his family's farm near Białystok. He described apple orchards in spring. He promised to take her there when the war ended. "When this is over," he said in Polish. "When we're free." Anna believed him. She shouldn't have. By July 1944, the Soviet army was approaching from the east. The Home Army prepared for the Warsaw Uprising. Tomasz received orders to join a combat unit. He would leave the hospital. He would fight. Anna asked him not to go. He went anyway. August 1, 1944. The uprising began. For 63 days, Warsaw became a battlefield. Polish fighters held districts against German forces that outnumbered them. The city burned. Buildings collapsed into rubble. Civilians died in basements and streets. Tomasz fought in Śródmieście district. Anna worked in field hospitals that moved every 3 days. They saw each other twice during those 63 days. Both times for less than 10 minutes. Both times Tomasz promised he would survive. On October the 2nd, the uprising ended. The Home Army surrendered. German forces ordered complete evacuation of Warsaw. Civilians were expelled. Fighters were taken prisoner. Tomasz was captured on October 3rd, exactly 2 years after their first meeting. Anna watched from a basement window as German soldiers marched Home Army fighters down Marszałkowska Street. She saw Tomasz in the column. His uniform was torn. His face was covered in soot and blood. He didn't see her. That was the last time. Anna saw him, the last time for 4 years. October 1944 through December 1945, Anna was evacuated to Krakow with other Warsaw refugees. She lived with her mother's cousin in a 2-room apartment that housed 7 people. She worked in a textile factory for wages that bought almost nothing. She waited for news about Tomasz. The Red Cross lists showed nothing. The prisoner registries had no record. The Soviet liberation in January 1945 brought no information. By March 1945, 3 months after Germany surrendered, Anna still knew nothing. Then the first letter arrived. It came on March 17, 1945. British postage. Neat handwriting. Her name and address in Krakow spelled perfectly. Anna held the envelope for 20 minutes before opening it. Inside was a single page. Tomasz's handwriting. "My dearest Anna, I am alive. I am in England. I was taken to a German POW camp in October 1944, then moved to another camp in January 1945. British forces liberated us in April 1945. They brought us to England. I am recovering. I think of you every day. I dream of Warsaw before the war. I dream of you. I will come home as soon as I can travel. Wait for me. Yours always, Tomasz. Anna read it 7 times. Then she read it again. She should have felt relief. She should have felt joy. She should have written back immediately. Instead, she felt rage. He'd been in England since April 1945, 5 months. He'd been safe while she waited. He'd been recovering while she wondered if he was dead. And he'd only just written 5 months of silence. Anna folded the letter. She placed it in her dresser drawer. She did not reply. The second letter arrived on April 3rd, 1945 then, another on April 21st, then May 5th, May 18th, June 2nd. Tomasz wrote every 2 weeks with clockwork precision. He told her about the hospital in Kent where he was recovering. He described physical therapy for his injured leg. He mentioned other Polish soldiers who were also stranded in England. He asked why she didn't write back. Anna read every letter once. Then she burned them. She burned them in the kitchen stove while water boiled for tea. She watched his words curl and blacken. She watched his promises turn to ash. She told herself it was about the 5-month silence, about him taking so long to contact her, about her waiting while he was safe. But that wasn't the real reason. The real reason was simpler and crueler. She blamed him for surviving. Her father was dead. Her brothers were dead. Thousands of Home Army fighters were dead. Hundreds of thousands of Warsaw civilians were dead. And Tomasz Wiśniewski was alive, in England, recovering. It wasn't fair. It wasn't logical. Anna knew this. But grief doesn't follow logic. Loss doesn't care about fairness. So she burned his letters and convinced herself it was justice. By October 1945, 1 year after the uprising ended, Tomasz had sent 14 letters. Anna had burned 14 letters. She hadn't replied once. The 15th letter was different. It arrived on November 2nd, 1945. All Souls Day. The day Poles visit graves and remember the dead. This letter was shorter. The handwriting was less steady. Anna, I don't know if you're receiving my letters. I don't know if you're still at this address. I don't know if you're still alive. But I need to tell you something. I was captured on October 3rd, 1944. The Germans put us on trains. I thought they would execute us. Instead, they took us to a camp in Germany. I survived because I could work as a medic. Other prisoners didn't. I watched men die from dysentery, from typhus, from starvation. I watched the guards shoot prisoners who couldn't work. I survived because I was useful. Every day I survived, I thought of you. Every day I lived when others died. I promised myself I would find you. I would come back to Warsaw. I would marry you. That promise kept me alive. If you're receiving these letters and choosing not to respond, I understand. The war changed everything. Maybe it changed how you feel, but please just tell me you're alive. Just send one word. That's all I need. Tomasz. Anna read this letter 11 times. Then she burned it with the others. December 1945 through May 1940. Tomasz stopped writing after the 15th letter. Anna told herself she was relieved. She told herself it was better this way. She told herself she'd moved on. She was lying. In February 1946, she met Jerzy Nowak at a dance organized by the textile factory. He was 31, a widower. His wife had died during the war. He managed a small shop in Krakow. He was kind, stable, present. He wasn't fighting in a war. He wasn't captured. He wasn't writing letters from England that Anna would never answer. Jerzy courted her properly. He brought flowers. He met her cousin. He asked permission before kissing her. In November 1947, he proposed. Anna said yes. She said yes because Jerzy was safe, because he represented a future without war or loss or burning letters, because she was 24 years old and exhausted from grief. She said yes because she thought she could. Forget Tomasz Wiśniewski. The wedding was planned for June 12, 1948, St. Catherine's Church in Krakow's Old Town. Small ceremony. 30 guests. Her mother's altered wedding dress. Anna told herself she was happy. She almost believed it. The night before the wedding, June 11, 1948, Anna couldn't sleep. She lay in bed in her cousin's apartment listening to Krakow's night sounds. Footsteps on cobblestones. Distant voices, a dog barking, At 2 a.m. she got up. She walked to her dresser. She opened the bottom drawer. Inside was a small wooden box she'd carried from Warsaw. It held the few things she'd saved from before the war. Her father's watch, her brother's school photograph, a book of Mickiewicz poems, and underneath everything, folded small, Tomasz's first letter, the one from March 17th, 1945, the one that said, "Wait for me." Anna had told herself. She burned all his letters. She'd lied. She'd kept the first, one hidden secret. Like a wound she couldn't stop touching. She unfolded it now. The paper was soft from being handled. The creases were worn nearly through. "Wait for me." Anna read those 3 words until sunrise. Then she refolded the letter, placed it back in the box, closed the drawer. She was marrying Jerzy Nowak in 14 hours. Tomasz Wiśniewski was in England, or maybe back in Poland, or maybe married to someone else. Maybe he'd forgotten her. It was better this way. It had to be. June 12, 1948. 11 a.m. St. Catherine's Church stood in Krakow's old town. Baroque architecture, high ceilings, stained glass windows casting colored light across wooden pews. 30 guests filled the first 3 rows. Anna's cousin, Jerzy's family, factory workers who'd become friends, a priest who'd known Anna's family before the war. Anna waited in the vestibule. Her mother's dress fit perfectly after alterations. White lace yellowed slightly with age, pearl buttons down the back, a veil that had survived the war hidden in a cousin's cellar. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. Jerzy stood at the altar, gray suit, clean-shaven, nervous smile. A good man who deserved a wife who loved him completely. Anna wasn't sure she could be that wife, but she was here, dressed, ready. The organ was playing. Guests were standing. Time to walk down the aisle. Time to become Jerzy Nowak's wife. Time to finally bury the past. Then the church doors opened. Not the vestibule doors where Anna waited, the main entrance. Doors behind the guests. Everyone turned. A man stood in the doorway. British Army uniform, left sleeve pinned at the elbow where his forearm should have been. Face marked with scars that ran from his left temple down to his jaw. Hair shorter than she remembered. Body thinner, older, but the eyes were the same. Dark, kind, searching the church until they found her. Tomasz Wiśniewski had come home. Anna's bouquet fell from her hands. White roses hit the stone floor. Petals scattered. No one moved to pick them up. The organ stopped mid-note. Silence filled the church like water filling a drowning man's lungs. Tomasz didn't move from the doorway. He didn't walk down the aisle. He didn't speak. He just stood there looking at her with those dark eyes that still held kindness, despite everything they'd seen, despite everything she'd done. Anna couldn't breathe. Jerzy took a step forward from the altar. "Who is this?" he asked in Polish. His voice was calm, but his face had gone pale. Anna couldn't answer. Tomasz answered instead. "Tomasz Wiśniewski," he said. His voice was rougher than she remembered. "Home Army prisoner of war. I was told Anna Kowalska would be here." "This is Anna's wedding," Jerzy said. He moved to stand between Anna and Tomasz, as if his body could protect her from the past. "You need to leave." "I know what this is," Tomasz said quietly. "I received the invitation." Anna's cousin made a small sound of surprise. Several guests turned to stare at her. Anna found her voice. "You received what?" Tomasz reached into his uniform jacket with his remaining hand. He pulled out a folded piece of paper. He held it up so she could see. A wedding invitation, Anna's name, Jerzy's name, St. Catherine's Church, June 12, 1948. "It arrived in England 3 weeks ago," Tomasz said. "No return address, just the invitation." Anna turned to look at her cousin. The older woman's face was set in hard lines, defiant. "You sent him an invitation to my wedding?" Anna's voice shook. Her cousin lifted her chin. "You kept his letter. I found it when I was helping pack your things. You kept it hidden for 3 years while you burned all the others. While you pretended you'd forgotten him. That wasn't your decision to make," Anna said. "Someone had to make it," her cousin said. "You were going to marry Jerzy while still in love with a dead man. Except he isn't dead. He's standing right there." The priest cleared his throat. "Perhaps we should postpone—" "No," Jerzy said firmly. He turned to face Anna. His expression was carefully neutral. "Anna, do you love this man?" The question hung in the air. Anna looked at Jerzy. Kind, stable Jerzy who'd courted her properly. who'd never fought in a war or been captured or disappeared for years, who represented safety and normalcy and a future without burning letters. Then she looked at Tomasz, scarred one-armed Tomasz who'd survived German POW camps, who'd written 15 letters she'd burned, who'd kept his promise to come back, who she'd spent 3 years trying to hate because hating him was easier than admitting she'd failed to save him. "I don't know," Anna whispered. It was the first honest thing she'd said in 3 years. Jersey's face crumpled. Just for a second. Then he composed himself. "That's answer enough," he said quietly. He removed the ring from his pocket, the one he was supposed to place on her finger in 10 minutes. He set it on the altar. "I'm sorry," Anna said. The words felt pathetically inadequate. "So am I," Jersey said. He walked past her. Past Tomasz. Out the church doors into Krakow's June sunlight, the guests began whispering. Anna's cousin covered her face with her hands. The priest looked between Anna and Tomasz, like he was trying to solve an impossible equation. Tomasz finally moved. He walked down the aisle slowly. His gait was uneven. His left leg dragged slightly. War injuries that would never fully heal. He stopped 3 feet from Anna, close enough to see her face clearly. Far enough to give her space to run if she chose. "I need to know," he said in Polish. His voice was steady, but his hand trembled. "Did you receive my letters?" Anna couldn't lie anymore. She was too tired for lies. "Yes, all 15? "Yes." "And you burned them?" "Yes." Tomasz nodded slowly, like he'd suspected but needed confirmation. Why, that was the question. The one Anna had been avoiding for 3 years. "You survived," she said simply. "My father didn't. My brothers didn't. Thousands of Home Army fighters didn't. You did. You were in England recovering while we starved. You were safe while Warsaw burned. So you burned my letters, so I burned your letters for 3 years. For 3 years." Tomasz was quiet for a long moment. The church was absolutely silent. 30 people holding their breath. "I understand," he finally said. Anna stared at him. "You understand?" "Survivor's guilt," Tomasz said. "I've had it since the camp. Every day I woke up alive and someone else didn't. Every day I ate and someone else starved. Every day I lived and felt guilty for living." He paused. "But I survived because I promised myself I'd come back to you. That promise kept me alive through the camp, through forced marches, through liberation, through everything." "I never asked you to make that promise," Anna said. Her voice broke. "I know," Tomasz said gently, "but I made it anyway. And I kept it. I'm here, 3.5 years late. 3.5 years late," he agreed, "with one arm, a bad leg, and scars that won't fade. I'm not the man you knew in 1944. Anna looked at him. Really looked at him. At the scars and missing arm and limb. At the war damage written across his body. But also at the dark eyes that still held kindness. At the steady way he stood despite everything. At the fact that he'd traveled from England to Poland to watch her marry someone else because she'd sent an invitation. An invitation she hadn't sent. But he'd come anyway. "I'm not the woman you knew either," Anna said quietly. "I burned your letters. I blamed you for surviving. I was going to marry someone else while keeping your first letter hidden in a drawer." "I know," Tomasz said. "Your cousin told me everything in the letter she sent with the invitation. She thought I should know what I was coming back to. And you came anyway?" "I came anyway." "Why?" Tomasz smiled. It was sad and tired and completely honest. "Because I made a promise. And because I still love you, even if you don't love me anymore. Even if you've spent 3 years burning letters and planning to marry someone else. I needed to see you one more time." "I kept the first letter," Anna said. The words came out before she could stop them. "I told myself I burned them all. But I kept the first one. The one where you said, 'Wait for me.' I kept it in a wooden box under my brother's photograph. I read it last night. What did it make you feel?" Anna closed her eyes. "Like I was drowning." "Because you'd moved on?" "Because I hadn't." When Anna opened her eyes, Tomasz was closer. Just 1 foot away now. She could see the scars more clearly. Could see new lines around his eyes. Could see the exhaustion of 3.5 years of surviving. "I can't undo burning your letters," Anna said. "I can't take back planning to marry Jerzy. I can't erase 3 years of silence." "I'm not asking you to," Tomasz said. "Then what are you asking?" "Nothing," Tomasz said. "I came to see you one last time. To keep my promise. You can marry Jerzy. You can marry someone else. You can spend the rest of your life never wanting to see me again. I'll accept whatever you choose. And if I choose you, Anna whispered, then I'll spend the rest of my life making up for those 5 months I didn't write. For every day you waited and wondered. For every letter you burned because I failed you. You didn't fail me, Anna said. Her voice cracked. I failed you. You kept your promise. You survived. You came back. I'm the one who burned everything. Tomasz lifted his remaining hand slowly, giving her time to step. Away, she didn't step away. His palm touched her. Cheek, warm, steady, like that first touch in the hospital basement. 6 years ago, we both failed, he said gently. We both survived. We both made mistakes. The war broke something in both of us. Tears ran down Anna's face. She hadn't cried since her brothers died. She'd thought she'd forgotten how. I don't deserve forgiveness, she said. Neither do I, Tomasz said. But maybe we can forgive each other anyway. Anna leaned into his hand. The church was still silent. The guests were still watching. The priest was still waiting. I read your first letter 17 times last night, Anna whispered. The one where you said to wait for you. I meant it, I know. Are you still waiting? Anna looked at this man who'd survived a war, a POW camp, and 3 years of her silence. This man who'd crossed a continent to watch her marry someone else because he'd promised to come. Back, this man whose letters she'd burned but whose first words she'd kept hidden in a box like a secret too precious to destroy. I never stopped, Anna said. Tomasz pulled her close with his one arm. Anna buried her face in his uniform jacket. It smelled like train smoke and English rain and home. Behind them, the priest cleared his throat. Should I reschedule? Anna lifted her head. She looked at Tomasz. Will you marry me? Tomasz blinked. Right now? Right now? In this church? In this dress? In front of these 30 witnesses who just watched the worst and best moment of my life? Anna, you came back, Anna said fiercely. You kept your promise. I burned your letters, but you came back anyway. I don't want to wait anymore. I've wasted 3 years. I'm not wasting another day. Tomasz looked at the priest. Is that allowed? The priest thought for a moment. Then he smiled. The church is booked. The guests are here. The bride is in her dress. We're just changing the groom. What about Jerzy? Someone asked from the pews. Anna turned to face the guests. Jerzy deserves someone who loves him, without keeping letters from another man. Someone who doesn't spend her wedding night reading words from 3 years ago. Someone better than me, her cousin stood up. She walked to Anna. For a moment, Anna thought she would be slapped. Instead, her cousin hugged her. Finally, she whispered. Finally, you stopped burning things. The wedding took place at 11:47 a.m. on June 12, 1948. Anna Kowalska married Tomasz Wiśniewski in St. Catherine's Church in Krakow. She wore her mother's altered dress. He wore his British Army uniform with one empty sleeve pinned at the elbow. 28 guests remained. 2 had left with Jerzy. The rest stayed to witness what the priest would later call the most honest wedding he'd ever performed. When Tomasz placed the ring on Anna's finger, his hand shook. When Anna said her vows, her voice broke twice. Neither of them was perfect. Neither of them was whole, but they were both alive. Both home. Both finally finished running. From the past. The kiss was gentle, careful, like 2 people learning each other again after years of absence. Like 2 people who'd survived the same war but different battles finally, finding each other on the other side. Anna and Tomasz Wiśniewski lived in Krakow for 3 years after the wedding. Then they moved to England in 1951, when Poland's political situation worsened. They settled in Kent, the same county where Tomasz had recovered after the war. They bought a small house with a garden. Tomasz worked as a hospital administrator. Anna taught Polish literature to immigrants. They never returned to Warsaw. The city had been rebuilt, but their Warsaw no longer existed. It had burned in 1944 with everything else they'd lost. They had 2 children, a son born in 1952, a daughter born in 1955. Both children grew up hearing stories about Poland, before the war but never during it. Some stories are too heavy to pass down. Anna kept Tomasz's first letter for the rest of her life. She framed it in 1963 and hung it in their bedroom. Wait for me. The words she'd almost destroyed. The promise she'd almost refused. Tomasz never asked about the 14 letters she burned. He never mentioned the 3 years of silence. He never blamed her for nearly marrying someone else. Some wounds heal better when left alone. When Anna died in 1994 at age 71, the letter was found beside her bed. She'd taken it down from the wall 3 days before she died. Like she needed to hold those words one more time, Tomasz died 6 months later. The doctors said heart failure. His children said broken heart. He was buried next to Anna in a cemetery in Kent, far from Poland, far from Warsaw. But together, the headstone reads both their names. No dates of birth, no dates of death. Just one line underneath: we kept our promise. Anna's story is one of thousands from that war. Thousands of people who survived when others didn't, who carried guilt for living, who burned letters and broke promises and tried to bury the past. But it's also the story of what happens when you stop burning things, when you stop running from what you've lost, when you let yourself love someone even though you failed them, even though they failed you, even though you both failed each other and survived anyway. If this story moved you, remember that love during war was never perfect. It was messy and painful and full of mistakes, but it was real, and sometimes real is enough.